Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I have the co-founders of Rewax and Unwine, Femi and Ashley Shillingford. Guys, how are you today?
Doing very well. How are you? Thank you so much.
Awesome. Great to finally have you guys on the show. This has been a long time coming.
No, it's exciting for us too. It's very exciting just to speak about the brand and just to have a good conversation.
Awesome. Great. All right. Well, first off, Ashley, I want to start with you. Tell us, what is Rewax and Unwine?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rewax and Unwine is a custom candle making pour party. And so we bring folks together and we celebrate their life special moments. So that's birthday parties, bachelorette parties, group gatherings, independent groups. And we pour candles, we drink wine, and we get lit.
Does it get any better than that? Come on.
Absolutely
that's amazing.
not. It's so fun.
That's great.
It's so fun.
Okay. How did you guys get started?
So, we started with, well, let me give you a little backstory. So,
Please.
Femi and I, we lived in New York City. And in our 20s and 30s, we would party and we would go out. We were living the life. Okay, Frank? And so life changes, right? We got married, we had kids, and life just kind of like shifted a little bit. And so we still wanted the connectivity with folks. We still wanted to communion and have fellowship. And so we said, what can we do to bring people together? Now, separately, I was making candles in my mother-in-law's kitchen just as a hobby, trying to connect with her. We were newly married.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love her to death and we want to just, do a hobby together. And so we started making candles. And then my husband one day said, why don't you bring your friends over, make some candles? They bring the wine. And then Rewax and Unwine was born. And so that's kind of where we started. And it just took off from there.
What were you guys doing? And what's your background? What were you guys doing before this?
Well, it wasn't candle making. So personally, I had a long corporate career. So after college, I started in human resources and then I went into marketing and I ended my career in sales. And so I was a territory business manager in one of the top food service companies in the world. And so loved every aspect of where I was in sales because that is an opportunity for us to bring that to the franchisees.
Yeah, and I started, I've had over 2 decades in various industries, IT, music and entertainment, more recently financial services, but always in the customer experience space. Obviously, I had a little taste of sales, but really making sure that the client is satisfied. So it's really about customer service, customer.
All right. I can see how we're primed here with both of you with your backgrounds to start this entrepreneur journey. Was the first time you guys had ever started a business, or do you even come from an entrepreneurial family?
So my mother and father have been entrepreneurs since 1980. So my whole life, I have grown up in that. And I have seen the ups and the downs and, they work together. So we're working together. So it has been a lifelong learning lesson that yes, has primed me for where we are right now. Absolutely.
Wow. Ashley, what about you?
So my mother is a wedding planner. She does destination weddings. And so I grew up understanding like the hustle, the grit, making sure that customers are satisfied, right? And so it was really cool that we both have that background. And I did start another business beforehand. And this was before you. This was before you, but it was an accessory marketplace where emerging jewelry designers would come and sell their accessories to others. It was an e-commerce brand. So that was pretty cool to have.
Okay. And so in 2018, do you guys quit your jobs and go find retail space? How do you start up?
Kind of, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll take that first because I think that it's important to share the journey because we did not just quit our jobs off bat, right?
Okay.
So 2018 we started. It took me about a year and some change to leave my job, but we were still like building. It was like kind of one and the same. After work, I was going and working at Rewax and Unwine. Femi had a full-time job as well, and he was there at 3 a.m. building things, fixing things, making sure that everything was going well for the next events. And so we really did have to, sit in that moment. We bootstrapped, right? Like we didn't have like so much capital to build out this brand that now is a
Yeah, I
franchise.
mean, we did it bit by bit, what we could do, we did, and we kind of held off the other aspects of it, but knowing where we wanted to go and when it was time to shift.
But I will say, Frank, so I quit my full-time job in December of 2019, December 31st,
Okay.
19, exactly.
Oh no, here it comes.
We had a great 2019, and we were like, you know what? We see it taking off.
Who
we
didn't, right?
Yes.
Everybody had a great 2019. I wish I had a dollar for every founder I've interviewed on the podcast that talked about how amazing 2019 was. And actually, a lot of them actually got their company started in 2019. And of course, we know what happens from there.
Yes, exactly. And so, 3 months later, we had our location in New York and we had one in New Jersey. And the laws were so strict there because you couldn't be together.
Yeah.
We use all of our senses, right? We smell, our touch, togetherness. And so there was some challenges, but looking back, we can laugh now, right?
Yeah.
Because when we were in it, it was so devastating. But we can laugh now because we made it through. We are so solution oriented. We have gone through so much adversity and we were able to pivot very quickly. So during that time, we were able to do virtual candle making experiences. And
Okay.
so, yes, so we would ship kits across the world. We were shipping to Australia, India, Canada. Like there were so many different places. And we learned so much because companies are worldwide, right? But the whole world shut
Right.
down and we were able to spark joy in everyone around the country. It was so beautiful. Like it was a great time.
Wow. Now I am curious, did you guys continue with this shipping of product? Or was that just during COVID that you did that?
Oh, yeah. Like even after COVID, when companies were going remote, they wanted something to bring their teams together. And so we would get a lot of repeat business. We would get a lot of technology companies, law firms, right? Because they want to make sure that their teams are happy. So it is definitely continued.
All right. Before we go any further, I need to know who came up with the name.
Did a lot of research. Like,
I mean, the name came from, like Ashley said, how we wanted our clients to feel when they come in. So still give them a place to, give them that high energy feel, but we did want them to relax and unwind. And of course, we're dealing with candles and wine. I mean, that's the perfect pairing. So that's where it was like an aha moment. She came up with it, but I was like, oh man, it has a
That
nice,
is a brilliant name, Ashley. Well done.
we are so big on puns. Like,
yes, yeah.
we'll drop a few throughout this interview.
All right, I'll be ready for it. Okay, so all right, we're kind of getting through COVID. What's life like though when you're finally like your location is open, your first location or first two locations, you have clients coming in, are things taking off right away? Does it take a little while to get going? Kind of walk me through kind of the entrepreneurial journey for you.
So we do it in bits and pieces. So we were first in Union, New Jersey, on the second floor, smaller space. Then we graduated to having a second location in New York City. Again, we're getting a lot of great feedback. Everybody's having a good time. We can visually see people having a good time, the smiles on their faces, what customers were telling us. Um, yeah, so we're in New York. Again, New York is the belly of the beast, and if you can succeed there, you can succeed anywhere. So we're thriving, and we're just really just seeing what the people have to say about us. They don't think that they can make candles, but they're here, they're having a great time, they're pouring their candles, they're decorating it, they're taking it home. And they're just really happy about the experience. So
Yeah. So you make a good point. People at first didn't understand that they can make a candle. So that was one of our first challenges, right? So people were like, what is the concept? You know, it is truly an untapped market still today, right? There's more candle making experiences and people have a better understanding. But that was one of our biggest challenges at first, is understanding or explaining rather how the process is done. So they're like, but I don't think you can make a candle. And I'm like, yes, I promise you, you can. And it's your own custom scent. And we have 60 different fragrances and 20 different jars, right? And so that was one of the challenges. And so at first, people were getting into the groove. We pay homage to the paint and sip industry. And so we would say candle making, but painting and sipping.
Right.
Right?
You're creating a candle, not a painting.
Right,
That's pretty
right,
much the
exactly.
easiest way to explain.
And so then people had an aha moment. And from there, it started to take off. And so we really understood that this was going to be a good business when Macy's called us. And then several corporations started to call for team building activities. And I'd love to share the story about Kenny Exler. I'm putting his full name out there because I owe a lot to him. He was one of the pivotal people that has really changed Rewax and Unwine. And so, you know, in every business, you gotta just like push through. You gotta start. We didn't have it all together. We didn't have all the answers, but Kenny believed in us, and he said, "I'm gonna bring." I was like a team of 26. He was the head of operations, right? And so he's like, "I'm gonna bring a team of 26 people in. Get ready." And so I'm like, "We've done bigger groups, but we never had corporate clients at that time, right?"
Okay.
And so he called and he said, "This was the best time we've ever had. I've been here for so many years," and like it just really humbled us. We were really like proud of what we had produced. But then he pulled us to the side and he's like, let me sit you down, be honest, give you transparent feedback, and let me show you how to improve it for other corporate clients. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yes. And who does that? Right?
Right, right. That was so generous.
Oh,
So generous. And he set us down and then he said, you know what? I'm actually going to bring my family back. And then he brought his entire family back. We had a great time again. And I mean, we haven't talked to him in a couple of years, but that was definitely a pivotal moment for us that kind of like took us off.
Wow. Okay, so since this is really a newer concept for people, and Ashley, I'm a little bit familiar with it because of there's a similar kind of mom and pop uh, company that I've been to that's done something like this, but not to your level. Can you share with the audience sort of walk us through the experience when we come in as a customer? Because it's more than just making the candle.
Absolutely. So when customers come in, first off, they're all greeted with a welcome to the party. We are truly, truly, truly a party. We are connections and party even before candle making, right? We want to make sure everyone has a glass of wine in their hands and ready to party. Okay. And so when they come in, they are greeted with 20 different color jars and different sizes so they can upgrade or make multiples. We also have some crystals, gold flakes, and florals that they can add to their candles, some little razzle dazzle. And then we use coconut wax. So it's all natural coconut wax. Everybody is hand pouring their own wax just so they can get that full sensory experience. And it's natural, non toxic. And we have 60 different fragrances that they're choosing from. So we have a bunch of different categories that we're so excited about. Categories like spirits and cocktails, the fresh and familiars, the fruities, the woodsy and earthies, right? The list goes on, but there's so much for so many different types of people. And you come in and you think you want one fragrance, but honestly, you start to use your imagination and have no bias, right? And now you're like, oh, I'd like a little bit of margarita with red pineapple and sycamore sage. Like you're building your own custom candle, and it is truly something really, really unique. And so, what sets us apart is the party, like I was mentioning before. So, when the candles are drying, because everybody gets to go home with their candle, we do karaoke, we do candle trivia, we do line dancing, we sing and dance, and it is so fun. The music is turned up, right? And we definitely have a different energy that we bring like to the audience.
absolutely.
That's amazing. What a great, even a great date night experience because it's so different than just, the dinner and a movie, and I think we're much more in an experiential kind of society now where we want to have fun. We want to do things that are different. And this is certainly no exception to that.
Absolutely. And I think, Fimi, you can talk a little bit about date night. And so we have multiple events, but date night is one of your
Yeah, I
favorites.
mean, date night is a really that's the only time where the music, it's still top 40s, but it's a little more chill, a more mellow vibe. Obviously, you want to get to know your date. It may be a first date, you may be married, but we also include a note. So there's a time when your candles are drying where you do write a love note to your significant other, your partner,
Nice.
and this is meant to be read when you're burning your candle. Obviously, you would exchange it and then read it while you have that first burn.
Wow. Okay. So that is also something that you guys do that is very different. Is that you said earlier, Ashley, that you actually bring your candle home that night? Because I know of other experiences where people have to come back days, a day or two later to pick up their candle. So how is it that you're able to do that?
Operations and efficiency. So we certainly have always been, I think we both really good at that. But we sit there and we say, okay, how can we make this faster? What do we need to do to make sure that the customer experience is top notch? Like we're always doing an after event review is what we call it. And our experiences are 2 hours and we have a
Uh-huh.
team that's very skilled and understands what to do. We train them very, very well so that they're able to get these candles out. We want to make sure that they're clean, just like as though you would be buying them from the store.
That's brilliant. That's awesome. Ashley, I love talking to founders and we share our war stories of the things we did wrong or I would say they were learnings, right, Femi, that we figured out along the way. What would you guys say is maybe if you can go back to the very beginning from when you first started, what's maybe one thing that you would have done differently?
Well, I think being in the franchise world now, I think we would have done a lot more documentation early as far as processes and things like that. Just so that we would, just be able to. I guess we would have been a franchise ready earlier.
Hmm.
I guess that's really that's what I take back, because when we went through the process, I was like, it's a long process. It's a very detailed process, but it
Sure.
is also a very necessary process as a business owner to do. So even if you're not franchising, it still is great to have in terms of hiring new people. It's very easy to translate what's next, what goes here, how to do things. This is what, so it just helps your operations out tremendously. So
How
that's
how early how early into the business did you guys start thinking about franchising and whose idea was it?
Well, God gave me the idea. So let's take it all the way back.
Yeah.
We had a vision before we even started the business. And so
that was
we,
2017.
yeah, 2017, 2016, right?
Hmm.
So we really enjoy the franchise industry and we were going to be franchisees of another brand.
Sorry, because I remember going to the franchise conference in Javits Center in New York City, and we had our
Uh-huh.
baby with us. So it was 2017. She had the baby holders, and so that's why I say that we wanted to be franchisees prior to the business.
Interesting.
Mhm. And so we love franchising. We love the concept. We love scaling. But we didn't obviously go through with that franchise. And we took a moment, we paused, and God's like, you're going to be a franchisor. And I laughed, right? How funny now. Look at us now.
Hmm.
And it's it's interesting to kind of think back because I was so anti, like, "No, how can I do that?" I thought it was such a huge mountain to climb. And it is, but my motto now is like, nothing's too hard when you know how to do it, right? And
Absolutely.
so I've always wanted to franchise, even before Rewax and Unwine. It's just always something that was in my heart because obviously God gave me that vision.
Well, I give you a lot of credit that you took the time though when you launched in 2018 because your first franchise didn't open until 2024. So you took the time to really learn the business. So I think there's a lot of people out there that would have had the idea of franchising back in 2017. They would have opened the location and franchised immediately, but you didn't do that. And I think that was really wise of you guys.
Thank you. We wanted to make sure that it was a proven concept and we had the multiple locations in different areas, right? It's next to each other, but they are very different in
Mm.
what customers want and need. And so we wanted to make sure that it fit before we introduced it to anyone else.
Super smart. I get this other question I get from other founders, and maybe you can help me here. They always wonder where do I find franchisees? This is such a struggle. There's 4,000 brands out there, and how I kind of get myself to be seen. Where did you? Who bought your first 5 franchise locations?
So we were luckily able to be on the Today Show in New York.
Ah,
Yes.
really?
Yes. What a great testament. So let me give you the backstory.
Yeah.
I have so many stories, Frank.
I still can't believe this story. I remember it. I still can't believe how it all happened.
But let me take it back
How?
to 2020, right? So in 2020, remember I told you I was like a pivot machine, right?
Right.
And so we did a Time Out New York takeover on their Instagram page. And so there's a bunch of different Time Out New Yorks across the world, right? And so
Okay.
we took over their Instagram page. We showed them, hey, this is Rewax and Unwine. This is what an event would look like. And the producer of the Today Show was watching. And so that was in 2020. And then she saved our information for 2 years later. And she has a segment called Buddy Up. And so it's the third hour of the Today Show. 4 anchors that are super awesome came to our studio and they made the candles with us. And so fast forwarding, Al Roker looks into the camera and he's like, and now they're franchising in a city near you. And
No.
yes, yes. And we had over 1,000 calls in one day. I was screaming. I was like, I
Oh
don't even
my
care if we don't
goodness.
answer. I was just like so excited and just praising the Lord, right? And it was just a beautiful time. But we were able to get the serious franchise candidates and interview them and take them through the process. And then, Frank,
To top it off.
ran the segment again.
No.
They do like a year-end recap. So in December, December 28th or something like that, Christmas time, they
Oh
said, you know
no,
what, let's
this
go
is
through our
amazing.
best episode. So they re-announced it again. So we got a whole nother.
Did you know it was coming the second time around?
Nope, did not know.
And
No.
the phones just started blowing up again.
It really did. And that's when we got the last few franchisees to come on board. So it was beautiful. And to this day, when I'm thinking about it, because getting franchisees is not an easy thing, right? We
Right.
understand that. And I will sit
Yeah.
there and I'll text the producer and I'll say, you've changed my life. Thank you so much. And you've changed
Oh,
others' lives, right? So
absolutely. What do you think? I mean, of course, you've talked to your franchisees, you spend time with them. Have they shared with you like what was it about your brand that really attracted them?
Yeah, they first of all, they love to be social. They love to, you are kind of the maestro in this, and it is your energy that is being conveyed out through the experience. So they thought it
Sure.
was fun. Obviously they love candles. So there's a lot of, each studio has its own fragrance in it, so it's always welcoming and inviting. It's really just a fun brand, and it's a fun place to work when you are
Uh-huh.
there because it doesn't really seem like working because you are part of the party. You're sharing experiences with people that you don't know. You're making friends. So it's really just something that kind of zhuzhes you up and kind of gives you a good feeling inside.
yeah. And then to top it off, people go into business to make money, right? And so we
Sure.
have multiple streams of income. And I think that is another thing that sets us apart is that we don't only have in-studio tickets. We have some franchisees that have a separate private party room, so they're getting
Uh-huh.
revenue that way. They also have a mobile candle bar, right? And so think of a cocktail bar where you walk up at your leisure, and in our case, we have them pour their candles and then they go about their event. So it could be like a large wedding, a conference. And so there's an opportunity with that mobile candle bar for them to get out, to get into their community, to travel a little bit, right? They're not so like locked into how many seats do they have. So that's been really great for us. We sell some food and drinks in the studio, which helps our, multiple streams of income. And we have a lot of retail items. So candle making accessories or candle accessories like wick trimmers, these cool candle warmers. So those are been really great for us.
Wow. Okay. What's the investment range to open a location?
So the initial fee is 30K, and then the range is from 120,
Yeah.
120 to 220.
Okay, based on so that range really also based on like the build out of a location, I assume, and where it is, right?
Yeah, and so let me elaborate a little bit on that.
Please.
So uh, some of our franchisees, they want to come in and have that extra private party room. Okay. So obviously, with an extra room, that's extra space, that's extra inventory and tables and chairs and fixtures and furniture and stuff like that. Right. And so it's an option, right? It generates revenue, but it is only an option. They do not have to do that, and that's why we have such a wide range. And then different markets are different. So New York City is going to be very, very different than San Antonio, Texas, right?
Sure.
So we want to make sure that they know why it's such a large range.
Right.
And what's the ideal of the size of location, party room aside?
About a
The
thousand would be the lowest.
11, yeah,
Mhm.
1,100.
And then, like, so during one of the experiences or during the party, what do you think is the average number of guests that one of those locations can hold?
So we want to make sure that all of our locations are holding at minimum 24 people. And so our franchisees are really able to max that out. Our location in the one of our locations in Sugarland, it has two rooms. One is 24 seats and the other one is 16. So a total of 40.
Okay. Now, Femi, we talked about this before we started recording. You know, you're a guy in a female dominated industry. How's this working for you?
So, one thing about the candle making industry is historically it is a female dominated industry. So the role that I play is just to give that different perspective on things. Men carry a different energy. So that's something that I often like to convey during the events. Maybe sometimes, you may not think that a man knows anything about scents. And I think that is also changing because with the emergence of, they in the industry they've mocked male colognes, and there's you know
Right.
there's different sprays that are kind of geared towards more of a male scent that they
Sure.
are now introducing as well, and that we see coming onto the market. So that gives kind of a path to more males to enter into the space and become customers is what I mean. So
Right.
that it's not just a female dominated industry or a female dominated event. We do also cater to the men out there, so they don't need to be afraid about coming in and with florals and things like that. We do have like Ashley said, the woodsy, the earthy tones, just to make everybody invited.
That's great. That's great. All right, let's go back to like who your ideal franchisee is. I think Ashley, you mentioned that you really want them to be they are the life of the party. So I assume they're outgoing, they're more extroverted, but we also know that in order to be successful in business, they need to have that business acumen. So I would imagine there's a component here where they really need to be avid in getting out in the community, marketing to companies to have their events and stuff. What are some of those most important attributes you think you need to be successful running one of your locations?
So our first traits, like you said, that energetic personality, that person who can really walk into a room and talk to anybody and treat everybody with dignity and respect. That's one of our like values, right?
Hmm.
But thinking about business, it's sales and marketing are our top tiers of somebody who understands it, who values it, who has experience, right? And so sales can mean in our studio selling the tickets, obviously, but also when you're there, you want to make sure that everybody goes home and understands how to properly burn their candle, right? So
Uh-huh.
if you need to share, hey, here's the wick trimmer and share the importance of that, right? Here's a candle lamp warmer, like literally showing the benefits, right? Also selling yourself, right? You have to sell yourself. You're like a community influencer at this point, right? We want somebody who really understands their community and where they're going to be located. And then marketing, digital marketing, that's how we get a lot of our customers. And so if you're a person that values it, who understands that this is the way of the world now, then, you're 20 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And we want somebody who's like passionate about the lifestyle business. So some people are like, I want to stop working at on a Friday. That's when we really pick up, right? So we pick up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday because most people are off work and they come to our locations. And so we want somebody who is interested in that lifestyle, and then also someone who understands that you have to follow a system, right? We know what it takes in order to create a successful brand, and following a system is very important.
That's awesome. Where do you see growing this brand over the next 5 to 10 years? How big is big?
Well, I have some numbers in mind. I haven't shared just yet. I don't
That's
even know if,
fine. You want to keep it a secret still? That's fine.
I think
but go ahead.
I just feel that this brand and this activity is something that can go across the country. Every
Yes.
major city can have one or two. I mean, you can do your adding and multiplying to get a number, but I just feel that this is something that can be any and everywhere in every city. Everybody loves to go out. Everybody loves to have a good time. And everybody loves to connect with friends and family, and that is what the business really is at the heart of. You're doing an activity that you'll create a memory of, and so just that coupled up, I think it can spread like wildfire.
But in 5 to 10 years, we are going to be a household name. We are going to be the go-to for adult parties, right? That are like, oh, I want to celebrate my bridal shower there, right? Like people will start to know, everybody will have a Rewax and Unwine candle in their home. And that's where we're going to be in 5 to 10 years. That's what I'm really, really excited about.
I'm excited for you both. Is this a legacy business for you guys? You see yourself doing this for a long time, and this is what you guys are going to be known for. What do you think?
I would definitely consider it. One of the reasons why we did start is because of our kids. They lit a fire, no pun intended. They lit a fire underneath us. And you have kids, right? So like you're like, okay,
Yes.
I'm going to be able to work for them, pass something down to them, even if it's maybe you don't want to pass the business, but you want to pass the knowledge, the mindset, like expand what they see in life, right? And so our kids have really given us something,
Yeah,
and the legacy, right? And
yeah.
tell them the story about how they did a mock
Oh,
grand opening.
that's
Yeah,
exactly
you
what I
want
was
to
gonna
say.
say.
Did they?
So, so in our living room, we have two boys. They're 8 and 6 right now, and they kind of, to themselves and playing. So all of a sudden, I see them with a ribbon in their hand, and one's giving it to the other, and one grabs he's like, "Can I have a scissors?" I'm like, "Okay, what are you guys doing?" So he said, so he just took it. I gave it to him, and he's learning scissors. So he's like, "Welcome to Rewax and Unwine." He was imitating a grand opening. So he's been to a couple of them. And so this is what they were. I didn't, we weren't talking about it. They kind of just, this is what they've been to and they've seen. So that's the kind of legacy we want them to see, is like opening new ones up and just understanding business. They come and they work with us from time to time, especially on Mother's Day.
Yes,
They came in.
for sure. What number are they going to open? They
Oh,
said
they
they
did say a number. I want to say it was number 57 or
yes,
87. It was,
it's
but yeah,
57. So
57.
Oh
Okay.
my
mark their
gosh.
words, mark their words rather. They are
Number
going to open up
57.
number 57.
That's what they said. So
And little do they know, Frank, I'm like, no, babies, you're going to take over the business. Like,
Right.
I'm like, not just number 57.
Aw.
No, but it's
Aw.
it's super important to us to have not only legacy for our family, but generational wealth, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to franchise, because we noticed that in our franchise community, they wanted to pass something along to their kids, right? They
Yes.
wanted to be able to share joy in their communities, and it's like it changes everyone's lives and moods. And Darnella, let me share a quick story. Darnella in Johns Creek, she's one of our first franchisees to open. She actually said, I'm so glad I opened up this business because a lady came in. She just she found out that she had cancer. And her mother brought her in. She did not want to come. And when she left, she called Darnella back and said, thank you so much for being there, being a beacon of hope in the community. It's just a candle, right? If you think about it at granular level, it's just a candle, but we are changing lives and changing people's moods, really, right?
You are. You are. You are an outlet for them, and people need that.
sure. That's really cool to kind of reflect on.
Yeah. And you're going to, if you guys haven't noticed it yet, I promise you, you will, is that the ripple effect of what you guys are doing is going to far, far outreach your expectations. It's just, it is incredible because if you think about it, you're changing the lives of your customers and you're already seeing that. But then you start changing the lives of franchisees and changing the lives of the employees of the franchisee. And then you're hearing about all these one-off experiences that people have. Franchising is just it can be so beautiful if it's done well. And you guys sound like you're doing it right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, look, if someone was interested in opening one of your locations, tell me, where would they go?
So you can find us everywhere, but the main places, we have 3 opportunities. One is our franchise website, which is www.rewaxandunwineevents.com/franchise. We also can accept phone calls. So our phone number is very easy. It's 1-833-WAX-WINE. So that's pretty easy. And then the last place is social media. So every platform is just at Rewax and Unwine.
Beautiful. All right. Last question for you guys. I finish every podcast with a franchise tip jar. So I want to ask you guys this. What advice would you give your past self the night before you became a franchisor? Hold on.
It's a ride. Yeah, it's a ride, and you learn about yourself. You learn, you obviously you're inviting franchisees into your business, so you have a learning about other people who may
Yeah.
be, at different stages of their careers,
Yes.
different skill sets. So it really teaches you about yourself. It teaches you about patience.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and
And it's just been such a great
yeah,
ride.
it's
It
a great learning experience.
We've only franchised for about a year, but when I say hold on, I'm saying that in like excitement, right? So we've been so stretched in a great way. Like I've never been so stretched in my adult life where I'm learning new things. It is a completely new business. And everybody said that, but not until you're in the trenches do you truly understand, right?
True.
And so it's been so cool to be able to see that. And we were actually talking about that the other day, is like, let's think back about before we even franchised, like how it was and what we thought it was going to be like, right?
Mhm.
But definitely is the word I have is hold on.
Beautiful.
Right.
You guys are lovely. I've enjoyed our conversation, and I know you guys are going to be that household brand name. There's no question about it. You guys are just incredible. I love you guys, and I think you guys will be great. And I thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having us. What a pleasure.
It's been a great time. Great conversation.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.